Welcome viewers and listeners. In this session today we will be talking on a very important topic, that is gender bias. What do we mean by gender bias or gender inequality? Because when we treat on the basis of rights unequally between boys and girls, men and women, which ultimately leads to unequal treatment between boys and girls, men and women. Why? Because gender equality is a fundamental human right and it must be achieved for the establishment of a peaceful society. So, today in our discussion we will be talking about what do we mean by gender bias and what are the causes behind it, and how much the parenting style and our teaching methodology is responsible for this gender bias, and we as a teacher educator what we can suggest to the parents, to the community stakeholders and to the teachers. Let us see what do we mean by gender bias and how much gender inequality is prevalent and what can we do to establish gender equality, equal rights between male and female, men and women, girl and boys. Let's see, my dear friends. Gender is considered as a learned behavior because it is constructed by some social elements. The process of socialization introduces a person to his or her gender roles. We will be talking about gender roles because earlier we had talked a lot that man is not born, or an individual is not born with some instincts that this task is meant for girls and this task is meant for boys. So, task is not mentioned with the sexes. So, we will see the social surrounding where one lives imposes expectations upon a person to accept the ascribed roles. We have to see where one is residing in, what kind of society we are living in. If I talk about parents, they always tell their sons to protect their sisters. Why not reverse? Why the parents do not tell their sisters to protect their brothers? So, it is prevalent that with this statement we can see from the very beginning in our homes, parents tell that sisters or the daughters are weak than the brothers, than the sons. So, why we ask the daughters to learn cooking? Why we can't ask our sons to learn cooking? All these inputs get firmly entrenched in the thinking of the child, and thus gender roles get reinforced through socialization because it is the faulty parenting style. I am sorry for the parents that from the very beginning why they give instruction to the daughters that they have to be protected by their brothers and they have to learn cooking. Why boys cannot learn cooking? Because no task is meant for a particular sex, that this task is meant for the girls and this task is meant for the boys. Gender is considered a social construct that influences roles, responsibilities, attitudes and behavior patterns of boys and girls, men and women in all societies of the world. So, sometimes this gender roles is constructed by social factors, sometimes psychological factors and other time biological factors. So, we will discuss what are the causes behind it and how they get entrenched in the mind of the children, maybe boys or maybe girls. So, gender is a social and cultural concept which is connected to biology. Gender is the set of characteristics of male and female which distinguish them from each other, because this is our biological aspect which distinguish them that they are male and they are female. It can be extended from sex to their social and cultural specialities and roles. These roles can be changed over the time because this society according to the changing scenario changes its roles. So the roles which have been ascribed to the girls or to the boys, they can vary as the society changes, because they vary in different culture to culture. It varies, we know very well. Society to society it varies. Gender roles are modified by many systems of social differentiation, such as political status, caste, class, ethnicity, age, mental and physical disability. I have mentioned so many factors like social status, caste, class, ethnicity and age. All these factors, they modify the gender roles, because time to time, as the scenario of the society changes, as the form of our social changes change, accordingly gender roles, they are influenced. And the other factors like political factors, what is the social structure in the society and how much differentiation is done on the basis of caste and class and according to the age or mental level. So all these factors contribute to make the gender roles differentiation, and which is a harmful factor for the development of the society. No society can rise, no society can develop when there is gender differentiation, when there is gender inequality, because WHO, UNICEF and all other higher agencies, they say that there should be gender equality. Gender equality is when the boys and girls or the male and female, they enjoy the equal rights, they share the equal resources and all the opportunities are given to them. Of course, I will be discussing with you that of course the initiatives on the part of the government has been launched, but the real problem is lying with the mindset of the people. So we'll discussing how these mindset of the people are faulty and what strategies we can sort out, we can apply to change this mindset. See, the concept of gender reveals how the domination of men and subordination of women is constructed in our society. Why it is said that it is male dominated society? When women has come out of the four walls of the house to earn for the family, then why a male member cannot share the domestic chores? My dear friends, chores do not know any gender, meaning by it doesn't depend which chore is accomplished by which gender. Gender is an integral component of every aspect of the economic, social, daily and private lives of individuals and societies, and of the different roles ascribed by society to men and women. This statement has been given by Aristotle, the great scholar, said that integral component is economic, on the basis of economy, on the basis of social aspect, daily and private lives, because the different roles are ascribed by the society to men and women. No individual is born with the instincts that this can be done by that particular sex, but accordingly what happens, the type of society influences our role, because from the very beginning the son imitate the role of the father and the daughter imitate the role of mothers. So that's why the society ascribe the different roles to the boys and the girls, and these take shape of our social structure. So accordingly Aristotle has said that these all are integral part of our lives, daily life and our individual or private life, or in the all the societies, not in a particular society. Now, after coming to know how much important is gender equality, we'll say how this gender equality is not prevalent. what do we mean by gender bias and what are the causes behind gender bias? Wherever the government is launching so many schemes and plannings, why this gender bias is prevalent in some of the remote areas or in a particular society, if not in all. So, we will see how this gender bias or gender differentiation or gender inequality occurs in the society. My dear friends, we are living in a patriarchal society where male is considered superior than female. Both the sexes are not given equal status. In a male dominated society, when a baby boy is born, more importance is given, more celebrations are observed in the family. Why? All the decisions are taken by the male member in the society. This all is really harmful for the development of the society. We are not starting a war between both the sexes, but my concern here is in this discussion that equal opportunity should be given to both the sexes, to both the gender, and equal resources must be shared by both. You know, gender bias is a preference or prejudice towards one gender over the other. When we see that importance is given to one gender over the other or prejudice is there, gender bias is when men and women are treated differently in a way, and that is unfair. Gender bias occurs because of personal values, perceptions and outdated views. I will be talking about these things. These are our personal values, meaning by what is our attitude towards the boys and the girls when they are performing a particular task. When we make comments that this is meant for this and this is meant for other sex. So, these are our personal values which become responsible for the gender bias. Then our perception, that is very important. It is how we look at the things. This is our attitude. This is our perceptions, how we look at the things. And these are the outdated views when government is launching so many educational opportunities, especially for the girls, especially for the daughters. So, these are outdated views. But even then, after so many schemes, when our mindset is like that, when our perceptions are like that, then in this scenario, in keeping in mind these circumstances, we cannot think that gender equality is there. Wherever I am talking to you that gender equality is a fundamental human right and it is necessary for the establishment of a peaceful society. You know, if we take the examples or of daily life, why there is a fight in the houses on the distribution of the work in the community, in the society, everywhere this issue is important. So, we have to make efforts that what can we do, what can we suggest to the parents, to the community stakeholders and to the teachers and to the teacher educators, how can we bring the gender equality for a better society where welfare of everyone is taken care of. So, in such a society, they call daughters as Paraya Dhan and son as Kul ka Deepak. But nowadays, new awakening has taken place and started a movement by uniting themselves and voicing about equality of rights. The movement started by women for their welfare is being given the name as feminism. Of course, it is outdated view, and these days new awakening has taken place because our education system and new education policy is also talking about the equal opportunities between boys and girls. So, according to Dubey, sexual prejudice is meant by those fantasies, thoughts and tendencies which are accepted by society as stereotype and ancient traditions, and they do not have any scientific basis. This indicates male dominance. When we talk about that there is the prejudice, there is the tendency in the society people, which shows that there is no scientific base, there is no logic behind it, and it indicates male dominance. When we see that behind these thoughts there is no logic and no logical thinking and no argument can be done, so this indicates male dominance. Further, we talk about gender equality. It is also known as sexual equality or equality of sexes. Is the state of equal access to resources and opportunities regardless of gender, including economic participation and decision making. See how we can establish gender equality when all the resources are being shared equally by the male and female regardless of gender, and economic participation, and above all the decision making. Why the girls, why the females cannot decide about themselves? Maybe the issue of education, maybe the issue of their marriage. So all the decisions should be taken by themselves. They should not be taken by the other member, so that they can decide freely and they can take decision according to their choices. State of valuing different behaviors, aspirations and needs equally regardless of gender, meaning by the behavior or the aspiration and the needs, they should be equally shared, equally given to both the sexes regardless of gender. We do not have to think what is their gender. So all the resources must be shared by them equally, and no prejudice should be there while treating with them, because if the girls, the female member come to observe that there is the prejudice behavior, then definitely a peaceful society cannot be established. If we talk about the causes, you see, gender determination is done on the basis of socio-cultural factors like determined behavior, attitude and emotions. Every culture has defined its gender roles and gender differences. In the very beginning I spoke to you, it depends on the variation of the culture and the society also, because this is the society mode or the culture which ascribe the role to the different persons, different individuals. So the behavior, the attitude and emotions, it is determined on the basis of the culture and society. So these gender differences arises in the culture, in the society where we are living in. Government has recognized these gender issues and initiated many schemes and programs. Consequently, the participation of women has increased in the areas where earlier it was zero or very minimum, like army, police, administration, NGOs, etc. There are various areas when earlier the girls' participation was zero. Now the participation of the girls are increasing in all the spheres, maybe in sports, maybe engineering, maybe in civil services. So their participation is increasing. It means the government is giving them opportunities and launching the schemes, and our national education policy is also advocating time and again about the gender equality. But this is the problem of our parenting style and our teaching methodology and our mindset. I will be talking about it. Even then, the cases of exploitation are being increased. Girls' ratio is decreasing. Crimes against women are increasing. When we see that the participation of girls or female member is increasing in different areas, in police, in army, in civil services, then what is the reason behind it that physical exploitation of girls are being increased? And girls, that's why when this is prevalent in the society that girls are not safe, then out of this fear, girls ratio is decreasing. That's why the parents want that they should have baby boy, not the girl, because the girl is not safe in the society. Crimes against women are increasing. We'll see why the crime against women are increasing. What can we do? Now we'll see gender discrimination and the causes behind it. See, first of all, we know that we are living in a patriarchal society. Son is considered father's successor. They are assigned positive attributes, like we say the boys, the sons, they should be stronger, they should be smarter. According to tradition, son is also required for the funeral ceremony. So it means all the property or all the benefits will go directly to the son. Of course, there are laws, but even then mindset of the people are like that. So it when we know that we are living in a patriarchal society, so in that kind of society, son is considered important. So we have to change the mindset of the all individuals. The second cause, what I feel is lying behind the gender discrimination or gender bias, is lack of education. Of course, education or equal opportunities are being given to everyone, but in some remote areas or in rural areas or where the parents are not educated, education is not given to all and everyone. Whereas we know that education is the biggest agent of social change. How can we bring the social change? How can we bring the social awakening? This is the education only which can change our mindset, which can change our society structure. Educational provisions also bring social mobility and new opportunities are possible. It is the only education which can force or which can motivate the individuals for the social vertical mobility and horizontal mobility for both, and new opportunities are possible. But you know, the girls are being denied equal opportunities in some areas. Now, the cultural misbeliefs are also the major cause behind it. In some areas, religious ceremonies are not accomplished without the presence of men. In Indian culture, some acts are prohibited for women, so this is wrong. Then, lack of exposure is also a major cause behind it. You know, women do not get chance to come out of home and interact with the outer world. They are restricted to play their roles and duties of domestic chores only, whereas in the beginning I said that chores do not know the gender, meaning by chores is not related to the gender. Any kind of duty, any kind of work can be done by both the genders, both the sexes. So this is lack of exposure. Then psychological factors. From the very beginning, mind are set like this, that boy is superior to girl, even in choice of colors, like pink for girls and blue for boys. Why? And in toy selection also, like kitchen set and dolls for girls and batter girl for boys. Why? This is the discrimination. This is the wrong or faulty parenting style. And if I talk about education system, you know, our curriculum is defective. How? The syllabus is defective because the illustration, the examples or the content which is discussed in our textbooks is gender bias. Why we say that the boy or the boy is going to school and the girl is going to the kitchen? Inappropriate teaching methods. How our teaching methods or strategies are faulty, are inappropriate, because the illustration, the examples and the methods which are being used are inappropriate, which again leads to gender inequality. When we say that the language should be studied by the girls or the math should be studied by the boys. So this is wrong, and which further leads to sexual discrimination, that this task cannot be done by you, then wastage and stagnation. Government has launched various schemes in the remote areas, or where the parents are not aware, where they are not educated. What happens, the girls, they take admission in the schools, but in between they leave the study because the parents believe in early marriage. So it leads to wastage and stagnation. And moreover, in some of the societies where the parents are not educated, they feel that if the girls unmarried roam around, it is unsafe for that. They consider unsafe environment, so they believe in child marriage. And this is the lack of awareness. Due to lack of awareness, it is still believed that women is bound to look after the kitchen and rearing the children. Some social evils like child marriage, dowry system, embryo killing, cash trapped, and illiteracy all lead to gender discrimination, gender bias. From the viewpoint of social structure, traits of boys and girls are classified, which in a way leads to discrimination and inequality. Traits of boys, we say strong, effective, independent, logical, outrageous, courageous, etc. And traits for girls are considered soft, obedient, dependent, emotional, weak, etc. Why gender bias? There should be gender equality. UNICEF says gender equality means that women and men, girls and boys enjoy the same rights, resources, opportunities and production. It does not require that girls and boys or men and women be the same, or that they be treated exactly alike. So what are the measures to eliminate gender bias? Spreading awareness, improving educational system, focus on girls' education, and providing equal opportunities, equality and equity, and gender equality in schools are must. When we talk about gender equity, it is a process to bring gender equality. In the end, we talk about some more solution. We have suffered a lot due to this inequality. Now the time has come to remove this problem. True democracy can be achieved only when both the sexes have equal rights. To boost up the economy, we need to invest in schooling to make girls confident. We need to implement gender-sensitive curriculum which reflects national policy on gender equality. So, it is an urgent problem. Of course, the volume has decreased, but education and progressive thoughts of people can do a lot. So, we have to change our mindset so that gender equality can be established in this society. So, I hope it will help the people to remove the gender inequality, to change their mindset so that gender equality can be established and there is no more gender bias, no more gender discrimination. Thank you.